What's good, everybody? It's the Real AG back at you on the Lockdown Defense Sports Network. And we got week 4 in the books. It's a wrap. We are on to week 5, which, as my Chiefs Kingdom will know, means it's time for another segment of Kingdom Keys with the Real AG. And we are riding high in Chiefs Kingdom after a pretty dominant week 4 victory, and got a lot of positive things to build off of as we move in to week 5. So let's just get right into it. First and foremost, the post-game reactions. Like I said, dominant display from the Chiefs, winning 37-20 against the Baltimore Ravens. Honestly, it could have been a little worse had they not given up that big touchdown at the end of Justice Hill, but it's whatever. But first and foremost, I mean, we saw pretty much a completely different offensive team from the Kansas City Chiefs than we had through the first 3 games. I mean, they came out, they were much more explosive, much more able to run the ball, much more committed to running the ball. Honestly, a lot of the keys I noted out that they needed to accomplish to beat the Ravens offensively, they did pretty early and often in the game. Defensive side of the ball, got to give credit to Spags. I mean, had a great game plan for Lamar, definitely frustrated Lamar and contained, his game-changing ability pretty well. And also we got to shout out the return of Big X, the plug, Xavier Worthy. I mean, testament to just how important he is going to be for this offense. I think the season would have gone, maybe the start of the season would have been on a little bit more of the positive side had he been there from the jump, not getting injured 3 games in. But you saw the ability that he has to just change the game, get big explosive plays, running the ball, passing the ball, and just how it changes how the defense has to play the Chiefs, honestly, because they have that speedy, deep threat that can open things up. I mean, without it, this just with the return of one guy, and like I said, we saw a totally different Chiefs offense, much more explosive, much more spread out. Mahomes was slinging it, 35 or 25 for 37, 270 yards, 4 touchdowns. They completed the ball to 8 different receivers. It just looked pretty good overall. So a lot to build off of from that game. Hope they continue to build off of it and don't sort of sputter out, moving forward. But, we are on to week 5 and we are on to Jacksonville with a big matchup against the Jaguars on Monday Night Football, which we will get into. But first and foremost, let's look at kind of the injury report. I mean, positive side here, Chiefs have been relatively healthy outside of Xavier Worthy. But, I mean, not a whole lot of other big significant injuries. I mean, the only 2 that didn't play last Sunday were Fulton and Dana, both currently listed as questionable right now. I tried to find more of an updated news on where they were at injury-wise as we're recording this, but kind of keeping things close to the chest right now in terms of their status. But overall, I mean, if that's the 2 guys you're worrying about with injury designations, that's at least positive, rolling done out of the first quarter of the season, really. So we'll see where the status is of them moving into this week 5 game. And then getting into that, the upcoming matchup, like I said, we got Chiefs versus Jaguars in Jacksonville, Monday Night Football. Jags are coming off of a pretty good game in week 4 and sitting at 3-1, top of the AFC South. Look like a kind of revitalized franchise, got their new coach. Things just seem to be clicking at the right time. So, I think it will be a little bit tougher matchup than some people in the kingdom may be looking at it. Like I said, I think the Chiefs ultimately could prevail if they continue to build off what they did in week 4, but we'll get into that right here with my kingdom keys for week 5. So just kind of ripping through this first and foremost, which, I mean, this could probably be a key any and every week, but you definitely want to win the turnover battle and force mistakes. I mean, just first and foremost, most important thing on the offensive side of the ball is to protect the football. Ironically, somehow Jacksonville Jaguars are currently leading the league in takeaways or forced turnovers. They have 13 through 4 games. They have had kind of a little bit of a cakey schedule and playing some suspect offenses, but I mean, that's nothing to just swat away. So Chiefs are definitely going to need to be conscious at protecting the football and not getting too lazy with with decisions and just execute perfectly. And on the flip side of that, I mean, they need to continue to kind of do what they've done defensively, and especially against Lamar Jackson, and get after Trevor Lawrence early and often. Make him uncomfortable, make him get out of the pocket, or have to kind of move around and force him to make mistakes. I think if they do that and make this, a Trevor Lawrence has to beat you type of game, things will look good for them overall. And then, moving on to the next one, they definitely need to slow down the run, especially Travis Etienne. I mean, look, we've been kind of praising about it on the channel all off season, heading into the season, and here at the kind of first quarter mark of the season. I mean, we all knew Liam Cohen loves to run the football. That's how he kind of builds his offense, and that's sort of the identity of his offense. And he has very much been as advertised with that. I mean, Travis Etienne is currently having a pretty resurgence type season. I don't think he's coming off 19 carries, 124 yards, and a touchdown, averaging 6.5. Last week against the 49ers had a long run of 48. So Chiefs are definitely going to need to slow down the run. And that's not to say that they haven't been good at it. That's something that this Spags unit has kind of consistently been good at, in containing the run and stopping the run. But they're definitely going to need to make that a focal point, this game against Jacksonville. And then, obviously need to control and win the trenches. They did a pretty good job of that in the game against Baltimore, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Much better game from the O-line, much cleaner pockets overall for Mahomes, and I mean, really kept him pretty unpressured. And look, I should have said this earlier. I understand what people may be saying. Ravens were seriously banged up. But like I said on our lockdown defense show, two things can be true, in that the Ravens were banged up and the Chiefs looked pretty dominant in all facets of the game. And one component of that was their offensive line play and how they were able to control the line of scrimmage with their D-line up front. And they're going to need to continue to do that in this game against Jacksonville. Jacksonville has some pretty respectable pass rushers, so we're going to need to see the O-line to continue to build off of that. But with that being said, Jacksonville, because they got Josh Allen, they got Walker. If you want to give him some respect, you can. But the Kansas City Chiefs have faced tougher pass rushing units at this point of the season than they have in Jacksonville. So, they do need to take advantage of that. Look at a Jaguars unit that could only muster 25 sacks last year. I'm not quite sure where they're at in terms of pace right now, but I can't imagine it's all that much better. I think they got 1 sack on Purdy last week. So you definitely want to take advantage of that, have scheme and plays available to kind of, get that explosiveness, open things up. And I think we see them do that with a healthy Worthy. And then, on top of that, you're going to want consistent production from your weapons. We don't want anyone sputtering out. And that's not to say that I think that happens, because it looked pretty like a well-oiled machine against the Ravens. Like I said, Mahomes completed 8 different pass catchers. Ball didn't hit the ground all that much, nor really got put in any shaky situations. And we saw, everyone get the ball, pretty much do a lot of positive things with it. So they want to build off of that. You want to continue to feed Worthy, both through designed rushes to get him the ball, quick RPOs to get him the ball. And I think we see him take some deep shots, more than they did against the Ravens in this game. And then, the other thing is you can't let up. And that just means, get a lead, protect the lead, and stay aggressive. I think at times in the past, we've seen the Chiefs get ahead early against, what may be inferior opponents, and then kind of play to not lose the game. And bad things can happen when you take that approach. So I want to see the Kansas City offense come out swinging from the gates like they did against the Ravens, not like they did in the first 3 weeks. I mean, we finally saw him score a touchdown in the first half for the first time this year, so that was great. And they need to continue to do that against Jacksonville. And like I said, stay on them and stay aggressive and continue to light up the scoreboard. And I think good things will happen. And then kind of finishing like we did, finishing at the bottom like we did at the top. This one could probably be a key for any and every game. But you got to be dominant, or at least smart on special teams. No dumb penalties or dumb mistakes that give an extra turnover to or extra possession to Jacksonville, and use special teams to manipulate the field position and put yourself in positive situations. So those are the keys for week 5. You see my prediction there at the bottom. Like I said, I do think it's going to be a much closer game than some in the kingdom anticipate. I think the Jaguars have a respectable team. They are kind of buzzing at the right time, and this is a big game for them too. So I expect Kansas City to get their very best, get everything they have, and then some. But I do think the Chiefs prevail, and I think we see them prevail in I don't think it's going to be really questionable, like they have to score late, but I think they are going to have to, play some good defense to close the game out at the end. And I got the final score is 27-20 Chiefs. Please be sure to drop your predictions down below. Chiefs Kingdom, our Jaguars fans, if you're here, I guess we can hear from you. But that wraps up my Kingdom keys, ladies and gentlemen, for week 5. As always, if you want to get at me, there's my social info right there in the middle. If you want to get the rest of the Hit Squad, there's the rest of our information across social media platforms. If you like this content and want to find more, please get at the Lockdown Defense Sports Network across any and all social media platforms. We'd love to hear from you, love to get more subscribers, and just love to, talk ball with you guys. So, like I said, that wraps up Kingdom Keys, ladies and gentlemen. As always, please like the video, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe to the channel. But in the meantime, how about those Chiefs?